We'll begin in Nigeria with this story that isn't too exciting at all, where at least 9 persons have been killed while 5 others have sustained injuries following attacks by bandits in Igabi and Zaria local government area of Kaduna State. Now, on Tuesday, the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, disclosed this in a statement in Kaduna, same day when he mentioned that these attacks happened on Monday, the 3rd of January.
Well, according to the commissioner, security operatives had killed 2 of the bandits, recovering some firearms from them. Now, this is just one of the different attacks by bandits in different areas of the state. Some of the other affected areas include Sabon Bereni, Kudu Dagari, Ruga Gushe, among others. Well, later on, as we proceed in the course of Breakfast Central, we will have a guest who will join us all the way from the northern region, particularly looking out south in Kaduna, to speak more on this recent issues, especially issues affecting and bordering on security. But Oluchi, this is one story that's actually trending as well, especially if you take a look at the papers, the news headlines, and more importantly, if you've been following us here on News Central. It's got to do with security issues, especially again in Kaduna.
Kaduna is once again in the news, and not for the very right reasons. For the regular reasons we've always heard Kaduna in the news, especially in recent times. And a lot of people are actually scared to go to Kaduna. I know some of my friends who had families and wanted to travel over the holidays, but their loved ones that were living in Kaduna advised them not to even come close. Rather, they would prefer they stay wherever they are because they're sure they will be safe. But for how long can we continue to sleep with our 2 eyes wide open?
All right. So joining us this morning is the President, Southern Kaduna People's Union, Jonathan Asake, to actually give us updates on this. Thank you so much for joining us, Jonathan. Now, again, we have a story talking about insecurity in Kaduna once more, where banditry is actually reported to have claimed 9 lives while 5 others were injured. What does this portend, especially coming in at the start of a new year in 2022?
Well, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for having me here. The situation of insecurity in Kaduna State has continued to be the same. Nothing has changed. Attacks have been going on throughout last year, 2021, starting from January all the way to December. We experienced several attacks where people were killed in their hundreds in their communities by the so-called bandits. But we know they are terrorists. And we have people that have also been kidnapped, and huge ransoms have been paid. During the Christmas season, this seems to have abated because the security agencies were up and doing during the festivities. But it has been the same story. And the worst of this insecurity now is the rate of kidnappings that is going on across communities in Kaduna State, the whole of the state. Every day, either in communities or on the road or in the farms, people are kidnapped and ransoms, huge ransoms are taken. And oftentimes, even when ransoms are paid, the victims are killed. So we have continued to witness this throughout the state. And so that's the same story.
Right. Now, Jonathan, you just mentioned that terrorism is happening everywhere. Now, we know that it appears as if it's ravaging the northeastern region, but also the northwestern region has not been spared by this banditry. Isn't it high time the country secured the services of foreign mercenaries to tackle this twin menace headlock?
Honestly, the cases of these atrocities by these herdsmen terrorists, very little is told of the stories of what people go through. And let me just mention it here, that Kaduna State seems to be the epicenter of these atrocities. by the so-called bandits. The border between Kaduna State and many other states, like between Kaduna State and Niger State, bordering, through Chukun local government, and Kaduna State and Zamfara State, through Giwa and Birningwari local governments, Kaduna State and Nasarawa State, through Sanga and Jama local governments, Kaduna State and Plateau State, through Kauru local government, and Kaura local government. You see that all these states that are bordering with Kaduna, and Kaduna being in the center, this is the epicenter of these terrorist activities, where they kidnap and they kill and they collect ransoms in hundreds of millions. Let me just recall here that when the Greenfield University students were kidnapped last year, around April, 21 of them, 5 were killed brutally, but a huge sum of 200 million was paid by the parents, not by anybody else. When the Baptist students were kidnapped, 121 of them, they have been released though, but one of them is still left there. And huge sums of over 100 million were paid. So who is collecting these monies? Huge sums ranging up to $1 billion within just a span of 3 months. Who is collecting this money in the forest? Where are they keeping this money? Where are they spending it? That is where I want the government to focus their attention. These terrorists have gone a long way in even shooting down a fighter jet of the Air Force. They almost killed the pilot. We all know these stories. So who is empowering these people? And they are operating in the forest. So these are questions that are begging for answers.
So many questions begging for answers, Jonathan, like you've rightly said. But there has been this insinuation that insecurity in Kaduna State has a religious undertone. Can you help us expatiate on this?
Pardon? Can you come again?
There's been insinuations that this insecurity is as a result of religious issues, or it has religious undertone. Can you help us with this?
Well, I don't know anybody that says it has religious undertone, what that means, but I know that the attacks, when we talk of the attacks and the kidnappings, they are different things. The attacks that have been going on across communities in the local governments in Kaduna State have actually been attacks waged against mostly rural communities. And in the southern part of the state, yes, if you talk about the southern part of Kaduna State, the attack seems to have been directed at the indigenous communities who are mostly Christians and traditional worshippers. But if you go to the northern part also, like in Giwa and Igabi local governments, where we have Muslim settlements, they have also been attacked. So initially we thought it was actually targeted at particular religious group, but we now understand that these attacks are targeted at everybody.
Right. Now, Jonathan, it is a really sad situation in Kaduna State there, but is there really any connection between the agitation for state police creation and the spate of insecurity across the country?
Well, the state police creation is just an agitation by some citizens and some state governors. And if the federal police cannot handle what is going on, I don't even think the state police can handle what is going on. I think to a large extent, there is some kind of conspiracy. Some people are making capital out of this insecurity. I think even some of the security agencies are making capital out of this insecurity. Some of the government officials are making, economic and political capital out of this insecurity. So even if you have a state police, they can still be manipulated. There must be the will to tackle this insecurity head on. And I can assure you, if there is the will by the government of the day, by the authorities, this thing will be a thing of the past. But I don't think there's the will.
Well, Jonathan, you are actually open to your opinion right there, but want to say thank you so much for bringing us up to speed with the latest, especially what's going on there in Kaduna. Thank you so much. We look forward to have you again on Breakfast Central. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.